very kind. Anyway, moving on, next thing you did was...
You worked for the Financial Times.
Oh,
no.
No, I moved to the Mail on Sunday.
Oh, God, we're not going to talk anymore. Right. Please. Actually, Mail on Sunday's not quite as bad as the other one, but anyway, all right.
My first piece will actually be about this, so I promised to write something nice about this. There we go. Anyway, you opened up a record store. Now, where was this? This was in Nottingham somewhere?
Well, our first two stores we opened was in Bowl Street, Liverpool. I just drove past it. And this was in, well, actually the first three. This was in Nottingham Gate, and then we had one above a shoe shop in Oxford Street. And basically, up until then, you got your records in a W.H. Smith's, and it was fairly bland and unexciting place to buy records. And if you went into a Virgin Record stores in those days, there'd be pillows, you could most likely smoke a joint, and you get your bootlegs. Oh, sorry. and it was, the people knew about music, they knew what they were selling, so they knew what they were talking about. So people like coming to Virgin Records.
Well, I think the police would have picked up on this. There was a policeman officer coming to arrest that hippie who's lurking there pretending to be an album cover.
Yeah, well, we've been there.
Right, moving swiftly on. Okay, so you have your records. The first time I heard about Virgin was when I was in boarding school, and I actually bought an album off you. And they looked, it was 40% off, I thought, it was going to be delivered to the place. But I remember when I spoke to you the first time, the business model you had was basically make a promise, which is records 40% off, get the money, and then work out how to get the records. That's kind of the way you did it?
Well, we sort of knew, I mean, and a lot of people in this room were trying to think, how can we set up a business without any money? And we didn't have any money, so we had to come up with ways of getting the money up front. So with our magazine, we sold advertising before we put the magazine out, and only when we had enough advertising sold to pay the printing and the paper costs did we then put the magazine out. With our record shops, we started a mail order company. We'd hand out leaflets outside concert halls. People would send in the money, and then we'd go to other record shops and negotiate discounts in order to be able to send the records out, and hopefully we got discounts bigger than the discounts we were actually offering because we had the volume. And so cash flow is everything, and sometimes you just have to be imaginative in that way to get a business going.
Absolutely, and then your next dream was to have your own record company. There's one small problem, which is you're not EMI, you're not debt, you couldn't sign anybody. You were struck lucky, I guess, or was it luck or was it judgment you signed this fella here?
Well, I hadn't planned to have a record company, but Mike Oldfield was 15, I was 16, and he played me this beautiful tape, all instrumental, Tubular Bells, and I took it to all the record companies. Nobody would release it. They said it needed vocals on it, and so I formed a little record company to put his music out, and then play at the Queen Elizabeth Hall with him, Stevie Winwood and Mick Taylor from the Rolling Stones, and we got the BBC to play the concert. And anyway, and I would actually get bits in films like The Exorcist and so on, and it took off, and it was the start of building what became, the most successful independent record label in the world. So it was a very exciting start.
And it got so big that you actually did a public flotation. And I'm going to show this picture because it's from your book as well. And this is the sensible men in the suits, because everybody thinks Virgin is just a bunch of people in jumpers who are a bit crazy. But you have got some grown-ups here who do spreadsheets and all that kind of good stuff.
Well, that was the only day they'd ever worn a tie. And we were floating the company that day, and so this was trying to look as respectable as we could for the city. But they quickly took the ties off by the evening. So.